So, you know when you get sexually harassed and or assaulted repeatedly by some titanically insecure, morally bankrupt, entitled, no-bottom narcissist, and you don't say anything about it for various reasonable reasons, and then that same titanically insecure, morally bankrupt, entitled, no-bottom narcissist is elected or appointed to one of the most powerful positions in the country / world. Yeah. Totally sucks. Hate it when that happens. I am here because I have a problem. I think it's a problem of cognitive dissonance. So yeah, this happened and I didn't come forward publicly, but even though I understand the reasons why I didn't come forward, like wanting to protect my loved ones and myself from physical and emotional harm and financial ruin, not wanting my life derailed and or reduced to association with this horrible person, and of course, the fear of no one believing me. Because people tend not to believe women, and women of color especially, but also the fear of people not believing me in particular. Because I'm not like the most impressive or most credible person in the world. And we've all seen even the women deemed by society to be the most impressive, the most credible. And even they don't stand a chance, so. Even though I understand the reasons I didn't say anything, and I understand and support other women who in similar circumstances did or did not speak up. Still, I'm racked, overwhelmed, overcome with guilt and shame. So, I want to know, why am I dealing with debilitating guilt and shame when I'm not the one who was engaging in abusive behavior? Why am I so guilty when I didn't do anything wrong? So, I'm going to explore this problem of cognitive dissonance related to sexual harassment / abuse in this theatrical setting, which is totally entertaining and fun for you guys, right? Don't worry, even while entertaining you as effectively as I am right now, I will handle this with the sensitivity and gravitas it deserves. So, I feel like we should get some sort of interactive stuff going on here because that's like a thing in theatrical spaces and events, I'm told. So, to engage in the exploration of my basic cognitive dissonance problem, why do I feel guilty when I didn't do anything wrong? I am going to invite a volunteer up here to help me. I know it sounds scary, but you won't have to do much. I just need someone to read stage directions and do a couple of other things. It's no big deal. Anyone? Oh, well, that was surprisingly easy. Come on up here. So, this is, what's your name?
It's...
No, don't tell me. We don't need to know your name. It's not like we're putting you on the spot. Here's the script. Read these underlined parts, okay?
Okay.
It's stage directions, but then also sometimes you read other things, like for another character. It's no big deal. We're here. Got it?
I think so.
Cool. The next part is you.
Oh, sorry. Problem of cognitive dissonance. Why do I feel guilty when I know I didn't do anything wrong?
Theory number 1. You feel guilty when you know you didn't do anything wrong because you did do something wrong. So now you're reading this part.
Oh. How could you, Han?
Han. So this is Karen, a friend of mine.
How could you, Han? How could you stay silent? How could you not come forward? You could have.
Sorry. Can we stop for a second and just try to observe the parentheticals right here? They're on delivery, like how to read lines.
Oh, got it. How could you, Han? How could you stay silent? How could you not come forward? You could have stopped all this.
I thought a mid-confrontation would be really theatrical.
If you had come forward, maybe you could have been the one extra voice that could have tipped things, pushed things just far enough to prevent the nightmare from happening.
Karen is actually a real friend of mine, but real Karen has never said anything like this. Real Karen is very supportive and says that survivors don't owe anything to anybody, and that our number 1 priority should be healing and protecting ourselves. But this is what I imagine real Karen is really thinking.
But instead of coming forward, you valued self-preservation over the lives and well-being of millions.
You're the one who tells me it's not my responsibility to say anything, that survivors are under no obligation to report.
Does that really track, though? What he did is criminal. If you see someone committing a criminal act, you report it. Because if you don't, that person can and will hurt others. If you don't report it, you are knowingly putting other people in harm's way. By not speaking up, in addition to abandoning the courageous women who did speak up, and in addition to jeopardizing the future of this country, you are an accessory, an accomplice to the future crimes committed by this person whose criminal actions you felt it was your privilege to not report. All those future victims have you to thank for the trauma they'll experience and for the years of PTSD they'll endure, all because of your cowardice. What?
It's just that, sorry, it seemed like maybe you just crossed a line or something. That was pretty intense.
Well, this is my first time reading this, but I think the idea of the character that I'm reading is that she is the extreme nightmare version of what Han imagines other people think of her and what she thinks of herself. This character is about Han holding herself accountable, so I think it's supposed to be intense.
Right. Works. Whatever you say. You're a very astute and intuitive volunteer. Okay?
So I'm going to keep going here. It is your responsibility to speak up, to say something every single time.
Oh, come on. If we were to speak up every single time, that's not a reality, Karen. If we did that, when would we be able to live our lives? Why do we have to be the ones sacrificing our momentum and our priorities to deal with this shit? Like when people do or say ignorant, racist shit. We're really supposed to say something publicly every time someone does something messed up? Every single time? Just stop in our tracks and write an official report. I wouldn't be able to make it through the day. I wouldn't be able to make it down the street from my apartment to the subway. Why should people of color have to stop and call this shit out all the time? Why should we have to ignore our own desires and priorities so we can address the failures and inadequacies of wrongdoing racists? When do we just get to focus on our own shit?
Yeah. You know what else derails the lives of women and people of color? Sexism and racism. So yeah, it's gonna be a little inconveniencing to write centuries and millennia of bullshit. It's actually gonna take some time out of your day.
Yeah, of course. But it's still not reasonable to demand that women and people of color and queer folks and immigrants and any members of any vulnerable, oppressed community stop and publicly come forward with each and every instance. Of course, sometimes we choose to say something, but if it were demanded of us, stop and publicly come forward with each and every instance. Of course, sometimes we choose to say something, but if it were demanded of us each and every time, that would be imposing a disproportionate burden on these individuals who are already vulnerable. And in addition to putting us at risk by demanding we come forward every time, it would also prevent us from making strategic choices to care for and strengthen our lives, families, communities. And you know that, imaginary Karen. I'm totally right on this one. Boom! Okay, let's keep going.
The problem of cognitive dissonance. Why do I feel guilty when I know I didn't do anything wrong? Theory number 2. You feel guilty when you know you didn't do anything wrong because women, and women of color in particular, are raised to believe we are wrong.
We are raised to internalize wrongness, and women are presumed to be inherently uncredible. And it goes pretty far back in multiple cultural and religious traditions. The testimony of women was considered inadmissible in courtrooms, in Judaism and Christianity, for instance.
Projection, a Renaissance fresco depicting Mary Magdalene.
I thought a multimedia approach would make it a little more theatrical. Continue.
Projection, a Renaissance fresco. Actually, could we stop?
What?
I think everyone gets the idea. No one blames you, you're good. We all know there are countless women who did not come forward for any number of reasonable reasons that make sense in their lives. You get it, right? We're done.
I think we should keep reading.
Why?
There are several pages of script left here, and oh!
Not anymore, there aren't.
Okay. I don't really know what to do.
Because this is all bullshit anyway, isn't it? This is all bullshit. None of this is real.
Well, Yeah. And everyone here accepts that. I mean, everyone knew that you weren't an audience member.
More than that, this whole, I'm gonna come up here and explore my problem of cognitive dissonance. Why do I feel guilty when I know I'm not guilty? Bullshit.
Okay, that's a real question. And a question with a lot of resonance for a lot of people, I think, like universally, not just in this particular, like,
That's not why you're doing this. That's not why we're here.
You're right. Something deeper. It's because what I want, what I really need, is to be absolved, forgiven.
No.
Oh, sorry, I'm just riffing here. I mean, you're so far off the script right now. I was just trying to improvise.
I didn't tell you to improvise. This is. What is this?
Well, I'd say it's a woman coming forward publicly about the fact that she didn't come forward publicly and her trying to deal with it.
But you're not. You're not coming forward publicly.
This feels pretty public.
Well, you're not you. And you're an actor who's not you, reading the words of a writer who's not you. And I mean, who is you anyway? Who is you? Yeah, grammatically, that's like weird. Aren't you tired? I'm tired of having to interrogate everything I think and feel and do. I'm tired of trying to devise different strategies to talk about this, talk around this, raise consciousness and explore these questions and issues, to do it in interesting and engaging ways, when underneath all of it, the thing I can't say is,
The thing is,
what if you just really don't want to think about it? What if you don't want to speak up or deal with it in any way? Because to do that would mean to acknowledge all of it. Because this particular set of episodes with this particular horrible person, with this particular titanically insecure, morally bankrupt, entitled, no-bottom narcissist, it was the one in a lifetime set of episodes of varying intensities, all wrong. And you don't want to have to look back and look at the cumulative weight of it all and think of
cost of bearing it. The cost of silence is one on top of the other, moment after moment, decade after decade.
and the cumulative impact of you each time.
Not wanting to be rude, not wanting to hurt someone's feelings, not wanting to expose yourself and the people you love to more harm.
And you each time telling yourself,
don't let on that it bothers you. You're too tough to let any of that shit get to you. You're too tough for that shit to intimidate you or have impact.
it can't even touch you, so you don't say anything. And you think you're letting all those instances roll off of you.
Because you're armor.
But actually, you're absorbing it all. And each and every moment you did stop in your tracks, you did deal with it.
You're not armor. You are sponge. You are earth.
You absorb every moment. And every moment has become a part of you in whatever way the accumulation of those moments has shaped you. And maybe the way it shaped you in particular is not good.
Maybe it's made you someone who's not especially impressive, not especially strong. Maybe it's made you someone who's afraid, who doesn't speak up loudly enough when all of the fucked up shit goes down. Maybe it's made you someone who doesn't want to show her face.
I want to be clear. This is about me, even if I'm not saying exactly who me is.
Because I know that so many women are shaped by it all, and in a way that makes them more powerful.
And maybe that's true for me too.
Maybe it's made me stronger and wiser, not weaker and more afraid.
I don't know. But it's a
The
question I have.
I have this question.
I live with this question. Who would I be if not for?
What would I be if not for? What would I be doing?
What would I have already done? Would I feel more ready to show my face? What would
Who would
I?
I